Former New York Congressman George Santos is now a free man after President Trump commuted his 7-year prison sentence last night. Santos' lawyer confirmed he was released from a New Jersey prison last night after serving less than 3 months of his full sentence.
Trump announced on Truth Social last week that he was commuting Santos' sentence. He wrote, in part, George has been in solitary confinement for long stretches of time and by all accounts has been horribly mistreated. Therefore, I just signed a commutation releasing George Santos from prison immediately. Good luck, George. Have a great life.
And there's a lot of people who were upset with President Biden who pardoned his entire family before he left office in an unprecedented move. So pardon me if I'm not paying too much attention to the curl clutching of the outrage of my critics and of the people predominantly on the left who are going to go out there and try to make a big deal out of something like this. It is known that presidents have the power of the pardon and the clemency, which are plenary, and they're extended at their will.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and well, that fraudulent Fredo George, catch me if you can, Santos, has had his prison sentence commuted by Donald Trump, and mark my words, he's going to be Donald Trump's next prison czar, in charge of correctional reform. Can you imagine that? Putting the lunatics in charge of the asylum. What could go wrong besides everything?
Quite literally, I don't know how much more humbled I can get before people believe I'm humble or remorseful, but I can just do the best in my actions moving forward.
You were ordered by the court to pay $370,000 in restitution to the people you defrauded. Will you still pay that back?
The investment was made to win a race. I won that race. There was no fraud there. This is a case we argued with the prosecution, but they needed to inflate the numbers in order to make it a more appealing case for them in federal court, instead of just going after the mishandling of finances, which, by the way, most members of Congress currently who are still serving in both parties who ever have had issues with FEC filings, they pay fines. Nobody actually goes to prison. So it's inequitable in its nature.
And fresh out of prison, no longer smelling like cheap hand lotion and toothpaste, but now like salvation, smiles, and prosperity gospel, George Santos strutted his way onto Fox News for the first stop of his comeback tour.
Life is too short. I have been granted a second chance. I have made a very concise decision to apply that for good and use that to make amends.
Curious George thought that he was walking into a friendly clubhouse in those phony leather shoes and that Georgie boy grin. He figured it'd be a soft landing after his little stay in the Gray Bar Hotel, a warm welcoming panel ready to help him launch his next big scam. But not this time. Nope, he got blindsided, and by Fox of all places.
Why shouldn't you have served out your full term?
Look, Charlie, I understand people want to make this into he's getting away with it.
Right.
I'm not getting away with it. I was the first person to ever go to federal prison for this type of civil FEC violation. These are usually solved in penalties. And I don't want to focus on trying to rehash the past. I want to take this experience and do good and move on with the future.
Fox co-host Charlie Hurt hit him with a question he didn't see coming. You were convicted of identity theft and wire fraud. That'll get your attention real fast. Charlie didn't pull any punches, went straight for the jugular, calling out how Santos misused donor funds for personal reasons. And then came the question we all wanted asked: why should you have served out your full term? Thank you, Charlie. Finally, somebody said it. But you know, this con artist has been rehearsing his lines for months inside that cell. He mapped out every lie, every excuse, every poor me defense, because that's what liars do. They don't reflect, they strategize. They don't feel remorse, they plot their next con.
Well, you run the race. You were also a very staunch voter, always with President Donald Trump, and now you owe your freedom to President Donald Trump, and I know you're really grateful for the mercy that he showed.
Absolutely.
You.
We look forward to seeing what you do with your second chance.
Thank you.
This guy has the gall to talk about being the first person ever sent to federal prison for a civil FEC violation. No, George, let's get one thing straight. You went to prison because you're a lying sack of shit who made a career out of deceit. You flushed your own reputation down the toilet, and your whole party couldn't wait to pull the handle. Even Kevin McCarthy wanted nothing to do with you. You were radioactive, toxic as it gets. People crossed the street when they saw you, like you were an abomination. Hell, they threw coffee on you in the streets, George. Nobody liked you. Nobody's happy that you're out. Nobody's celebrating. No. Get that through your nasty little numbskull. So this little post-prison glow-up you're having, that's just you, buddy. Nobody's sharing your delusion. And we sure as hell don't want to ever see you anywhere near the halls of Congress ever again. Last time, karma bit you right in the ass, but it didn't bite you hard enough. You only did 3 months. You don't know what real consequences look like. You don't deserve a redemption arc, a book deal, a sneaker line, an underwear endorsement, or some late-night grifter gig selling Miracle Cologne. You're not reformed, repented, or saved. You're rehearsed, fake, and phony. And we see right through you, and so does everyone else. Let's call George Santos what he is. A narcissist, a pathological liar, a two-bit hustler with the Bible in one hand and a GoFundMe link in the other, a grifter, a snake oil salesman, a carnival barker with a fake resume and a glitter rosary. This guy could sell sand in the desert and then charge you a restocking fee for the bottle he scooped it into. George Santos is a walking Ponzi scheme in polyester. He's a drama queen who fakes humility, begging for validation of his own craziness. The man doesn't seek redemption. He seeks attention. He's not after forgiveness. He's after followers. Everything about him screams, look at me. Every lie, every poor me story, every teary confession. It's performance art for a crowd he thinks will clap. And make no mistake, this isn't some new chapter in American politics. It's the same old GOP cycle of narcissistic abuse. It's the rinse and repeat playbook that we've seen for years. Lie, get caught. Well, then play the victim, find Jesus, beg for donations, and then lie again. You can see it play out in the Republican agenda every single day. This constant loop of grift, gaslight, and God forgave me. It's the same song they play every time one of their golden boys gets busted. George Santos didn't walk out of prison a changed man. He walked out a rehearsed. He's not saved. He's staged. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the next grift being born. Somewhere between praise Jesus and buy my book. Let's get one thing straight. George Santos is no victim. He's not some wrongfully accused man of faith. He's a two-bit grifter with a persecution complex and a microphone. He's out here spinning fairy tales about redemption while already plotting the next hustle. This isn't about forgiveness. It's about favoritism. It's about a corrupt movement that rewards loyalty over law, ego over ethics, and deceit over decency. Santos isn't walking free because of grace. He's walking free because corruption has a key. So no, he's not your comeback story. He's not a cautionary tale. He's a case study in how low the bar has fallen. And if George Santos is the poster boy for Trump's idea of second chances, then God help us all. Because the next con is already here. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.